They know Miss Ansley's here, girl. They're trying it, girl.
Yeah.
They're trying to break through the windows, come through the attic, girl.
We had to sage. We had to close the windows.
TikTok on YouTube.
We had to.
See what we're dealing with?
Oh my God, I need an aspirin so bad, girl. This is like living life on life's terms in the morning. And sometimes it's smooth and sometimes it's rough. Anyway, welcome to the Nobody's Listening podcast of Housewives of Burbank. Yes. We are here. Yes. And today we have a special guest, and we have Ansley Weller. Did they put Weller in your name? Is that a fake name?
Weller is my birth name, and Morgan is my married name.
Because it's so funny, because it's like Weller, like wellness.
Yeah, like Weller than well.
Yeah.
Getting weller instead of sicker.
Yes.
In German, it means to continue.
I've noticed that. Well, there you go. Every day
it's
we
German
have to
first you continue.
Continue is the operative word today. Anyway, how you doing today, Eugenia? Are you good after everything?
Basically, I'm sick a little bit. I was sick
A
over the
little
weekend.
bit. You sound like you have the croup.
I'm better. And now that we laugh,
She doesn't even smoke one cigarette.
I do
I
like.
don't understand. Nobody's listening.
I do like my raspy voice. It resembles Cosmo. I would want to have that voice.
Yeah.
Maybe. How do I get Cosmo's voice?
I was
It's very
really
sexy.
born with this voice.
Yeah.
My whole family sounds like this.
Yeah.
Only with the cigarettes, it made it more raspy and more
Yeah.
sexy. You know, I kind of like it though. Anyway,
I'm better. I'm better.
So back to yes, our guest today, Ansley Weller. Yes,
Thanks for having me on.
Girl.
So good to be here.
She's a very powerful component in my life, you know, regarding sobriety and like spiritual advice, you know. And Ansley and I met in Hollywood.
Yep.
We met at Bliss Cafe, which is on Vine and Santa Monica Boulevard, and it's responsible for getting a lot of people sober. And it was a little coffee shop. And it was just no room in there, you know. Everybody just crammed in there, ordering coffee from Martine. Remember Martine, the owner?
Yes.
We love you,
Bliss isn't there
Martine. We miss you,
anymore.
Martine.
But if anyone, you know, it's a great model to have a coffee shop. Maybe one day.
Yeah.
The Queen will have
Yeah.
one.
Or
Where
a,
people-
a Queen and sober living.
Yep.
Or, you know, we could go on and on with this
We're
thing.
looking for investors.
You know, and the world needs it.
Ansley's pitching 5 minutes into a podcast.
Okay, I feel like the parents that you're my host.
Right.
You see how they're looking for money. Okay, there we go. So
Usually, it's
Ansley
me
and
who's
Eugenia
like.
have an OnlyFans. We're gonna talk about that later. Yes. But we met at Bliss Cafe, and that was someone that was really having a hard time, and I had a love addiction too. Remember, I was like this big. I was so skinny.
Yeah.
And
So was I.
And
We got the Burbank curse.
we got the Burbank curse. Yeah.
What is the Burbank curse?
It's kind of like a fish tank, right? Like the bigger the fish tank, the bigger the fish. So Burbank is so spread out. Like the bigger the house, the bigger the people.
Well, also Bob's big boy is still here.
Yeah.
And
You took me there a couple times.
He's
Yeah.
got a,
It's so good.
yeah, I think that's the principality of Burbank.
We have to get rid of Bob's big. As much as we love you, Bob. I know you're the last big boy standing. Because they closed them all.
Cosmo and I met in Hollywood. We're both like this big.
Yeah, I was suffering from drinking and a love addiction. Okay, but I looked really good though, and I still have that outfit in my closet. You know, I'm gonna fit into that shit. But and I met Ansley, and Ansley had 2 kids, and she literally was breastfeeding, weren't you?
Yeah.
And like any cause, she went to the meeting. She was there every day. And I saw her, and when I heard her speak, it's kind of like the Bible came out. Like, I just got a spiritual awakening. You know, how you attach yourself to someone, you know? And basically, I attached myself to Ansley, you know? And it just so happens that I asked her to sponsor me and help me, you know, because I was really struggling a lot, like I said, with alcohol and sex addiction and love addiction. It was more love addiction. And she helped me, you know, she helped me get sober. And There was a lot of sponsors, baby. I have a laundry list of sponsors, and they were all really great. And I would get like 2 years, 3 years, 2 years, 2.5 years, and that was it. Never over 3 years. And when I met Ansley, and it's so funny because I have a back house. This is my house and I have a back house. And I was like, I have a back house for rent. Would you maybe want to move in? It's upstairs, downstairs, 2 bathroom, you could put the kids in there, your husband, I don't care, your mother, your father, just please move in. And it just so happened that you were moving, right? You were looking for a place.
We had a place. And it was a challenge with dogs and kids and us, so I was like, let me talk to my husband about it. And he's from Burbank, so he was super excited, but I had to get interviewed by Cosmo and your entourage, and it was such a culture shock. It was all these designers, and then I'm
it was Cosmo's casting couch.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's so interesting.
The whole family had to audition.
No, but I was really excited because she actually moved in, and that was 11 years,
and we didn't leave. We
something
moved,
like 11 years.
My son is 8 now, and he was 6 months when we moved in. So we've been here 7.5 years.
Okay, yes. So anyway, I have my sponsor in the back house, and that's how I did it, really. Basically, we were meeting in the yard, right?
Yeah.
And we would meet in the yard, and she would show me how to do the spiritual work, but different than I learned in AA. Basically, because in AA, you come in and you work the steps, and then kind of you're done. And everybody's like, okay, I'm done. I worked the steps 10 years ago with my sponsor. And Ansley told me that you can't you can't stay clean on a shower you took yesterday, basically. So basically the next day you have to take another shower, which is work the steps again every day on a daily. So we would meet upon awakening and get some coffee, like the big book said, and we would go in the yard and we would actually do an inventory, work all the steps, but we would do this every day. And then go to a meeting when we were in the 12th step and then go back to bliss.
And we'd meditate.
And she taught me how to meditate. And my racy mind, guys, oh my God, I do 110 with the stores and the dogs and the husbands and the boyfriends. And my relationship with Eugenia is very, very, very busy. But I just met Eugenia too at that time.
Yeah, we met 12 years ago.
12 years ago. Yeah.
I didn't know about this whole circle of trust, and because I I met you through the store, so I didn't know that you have to audition. I feel honored that
you passed the audition.
Okay.
Yeah, with that octopus bra that you brought me. But basically, so I got sober, and Ansley really helped me until today. We're working. Not as tight as we were back in back when I first got sober. It was every day for 2 years, working the steps, going to this meeting. That's not there anymore, sadly, because I really think that meeting helped a lot of people.
Yeah, it didn't make it through COVID, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it really brought a lot of great people together. How lucky am I that I got to be in lockdown with
crazy.
With the queen.
I was like, wait, this isn't so bad. And all the neighbors were we're in the backyard, having the time of our lives. And we're like, I'm not depressed anymore. This is fun.
Yeah.
And all the neighbors are spying and listening to us talk about staying sober.
So Ansley and Cosmo, I have a question. Ansley, from your perspective, how does it feel to be a sponsor? What kind of person can anyone become? So I don't know, can a random person become a sponsor? Do you have to have a certificate? Do you have to be aware of the program? Do you sacrifice a part of you? Is he now a part of your family forever? What's happening? What kind of commitment is becoming a sponsor? And what does it take?
I mean, here's the thing. There's nothing in the book of Alcoholics Anonymous which outlines the 12 steps. There's nothing actually in the use of the word sponsor is never mentioned in there. So it's kind of a cultural term, and really it's just an understanding closed mouth friend, and really, God is the sponsor. So I think that's why Cosmo and I have been able to work together in this capacity for, I guess it's 8 years now. Because it's like, how do you, like, imagine, like, I'm sure you've had those sponsors that are like, oh, you need to, like, send flowers to all these people, and you need to, like, quit your job and, like, stop being in fashion because you might relapse. And,
Oh, wow.
you know, like, try to run your life. You can't date.
I did. I have sponsors when I was a hairdresser, and they're like, you have to put away the scissors.
Really?
And not go to work and not cut hair anymore for 5 years. You got to get a menial job.
A humble job.
Try changing your outfit. Don't dress so flamboyant. You got to wear like Levi's and a Hanes t-shirt.
Which you did one time.
I did. I was fighting.
That's how bad you wanted to be sober.
I was fighting for my life.
No way.
So there the queen was with Levi's.
No.
And a Hanes t-shirt.
Girl.
Yeah, I tried it all, queen.
Wow.
I tried it all.
Stand on your head.
And no what about eyelashes?
So you turn purple.
No eyelashes. No eyelashes.
No. But I want to tell you, I met this lady. She had 45 years sobriety. What was her name, girl? It'll come back to me. Anyway, I met her at the Rodeo Drive meeting. So when I went to Rodeo Drive, I said, oh my God, all these people, I'm in a Hanes t-shirt and Levi's, and all these people are just fashion and eyelashes. I think I'm going to fire that fucking sponsor. Fuck her. And these people had 35 years, 45 years. So I went up to Linda Kay, iconic in AA, and she was fabulous. And she goes, I told her, I said, you know, my sponsor wants me to wear this outfit and, like, you know, not dress fabulous to the meeting. She goes, darling, she goes, fashion is everything. She goes, you bring your best to the meeting. She goes, and you do it. And her eyelashes, she must have had 6 packs of eyelashes on. She was so beautiful with this little Liza Minnelli haircut. And she goes, you just do sobriety 1 eyelash at a time. Oh. And that's what I did.
That's where it's from.
That.
Oh.
And I got it. I was like, you could be whoever you want to be. It's an inside job. You know, you don't have to conform. So I wasn't that kid. Like, you can't stick baby in the corner. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You cannot stick an alcoholic in the corner.
Do not stick Cosmo in the corner.
Anyone. The people I hung are so defiant. We're defiant by nature.
And don't like authority. Like, get really triggered by authority.
Yeah, so you can't just say, change your outfit, stand on your head. You can't cut hair anymore. No, it's like...
It's abusive.
So with Ansley, thank God, you know, and Linda Kay, you know, that woman who really, like, made me go back in my closet and put on fashion. But she says, just be yourself. You're a chameleon. You want to be yourself. But with Ansley, I found that in the steps is where you get sober. Like, in the steps. Like,
you have to face yourself. Like,
yeah.
You know, the steps kind of meet you right where you're at, the process that we do. And, you know, it's really like holding up a mirror or holding up like an x-ray of like, what you've got in that moment going on inside. So you can't really argue with it because it's you facing yourself. So it's like, and you know, it's taking the medicine and there's like no negative side effects. The effects are you feel better. That's why we drank or used, is we wanted to feel better. So if there's a way to feel better that's non-invasive, that doesn't, you know,
it literally is like surgery of the brain when you do these steps, because the disease centers right inside your brain, right? So it wakes up before we wake up. It's doing push-ups in the parking lot. You know, it wants to fuck me up bad. It wants me to relapse. Or the thing now is with the 8 years, it's not like relapsing. Like, you know, everything was removed. Like, everything, like having urges to get drink or use is removed, you know, and that's a blessing from the steps and God, like, just totally removed. But now you got to deal with living life on life's terms. You got to think of your head. You got to deal with your head, the stinking thinking, the negativity and all that. And it really happens before we wake up in the morning. So basically, I would meet Ansley and we would do the steps, and it's like surgery of the brain. And then she taught me how to pray and then meditate. And I would not sit still for 5 minutes?
Right.
I was just bouncing off the walls, okay? And then I learned she gave me a mantra. So she's so wise, I'm going to cry right now because she really helped me, and she trained in meditation, and she studied all these things, so literally a life coach, and she literally helped save my life, and and today, we're still here.
Yeah.
But we need to spread the word, because a lot of people in AA, the statistics are really low in AA.
It's like a 3%.
It's 3% of people get sober and stay sober.
At most.
And it's a very, very low rate. I went to so many funerals, the last few months. And then I just went to, could you pull down that hat?
Yeah.
Shifty.
And you gotta listen to Shifty's interviews, because of all the people that I've met, Shifty and Cosmo have a similar voice.
Yeah. So Shifty,
really iconic voices.
Shifty would come in my store,
yeah.
When he had Crazy Town, and of course he would buy everything with his beautiful wife, and and come in and just just money was no object, to just drop money. And then we knew each other from AA, and we both were sober at that time, but he had the relapse story bad, and I had the relapse story bad.
So everyone was always trying to bring him together.
Yeah. So anyway, he would always check in with me. Always check in. How you doing, Cosmo? You good? I'm so glad you're still here on Melrose. How long you got now? And I'm like, he would do the California sober thing. You know what I mean? How long you got now? But then he saw the last 8 years. He's like, wow, you're really sober. And basically, I seen the struggle he was going through, because I went through that struggle. And before he passed away, with fentanyl now and all these new fucking drugs that are just literally killing everybody, all the celebrities are all fucked up, and you see the people in the streets, they're losing their minds, and it's all due to the government. So it's really hard to stay sober, because there's so many odds against us. And that's why I was lucky I met Ansley, because literally when I work the steps, and then after I'm done and I do my fear inventory, and then, pray and meditate, and then we're in step 12, and then I'll go to a meeting, because you can't transfer something you don't have. So basically she's like, don't even bother going to the meeting if you're not in step 12, girl, because you're going to wind up getting in a fight, girl. I know you're going to throw a chair. So basically I kind of want to share this with you guys, how to feel relief, and it's basically an hour sitting down with the steps and pray and meditate. And believe me, if it works for me, it will work for you, for real, or any sick person out there, but there's also mental conditions too. That's a hard one, Rebecca.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So what do you think about Rebecca?
So
do you think there's any turning around for Rebecca?
100% I do.
Explain how it's different, how some people in AA, the tradition, the sponsors who said, okay, work the steps your first year or however long it takes. And then after that, they're just okay, now you're sober, But how important is it to continue?
It's
and how important is it to actually teach that? You told me, you don't take clean on a shower you took yesterday. You have to work the steps every day, because the disease is every day, right?
Right.
So, explain a little bit about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I will say this: one of the biggest issues is the founder of AA, Bill Wilson. He has died. So what happens is, when the leader of a movement, he was a pioneer, right? So he he was able to come up with the steps, and really the magic of the steps is in one alcoholic talking to another, one addict talking to another, because the doctors were not understanding the condition. They still, I believe, don't really understand. It's going to take like addicts. I do know one. He was a very bad addict, and he had to drop out of med school several times for heroin addiction, but he ended up becoming a doctor, and he had a serious heroin addiction. He was adopted into a family, and so it's people like that have to become the change, right? And they have to get in those positions by going through the school of hard knocks to really be the embodiment. The problem is a lot of people who suffer from heroin addiction do not get to go and become doctors, but this one did. But yeah, a lot of the solution for doctors is not getting to the root of it. It's just managing the symptoms with drugs. So Bill Wilson came up with the steps, but even the founder of AA stopped doing the steps. He said on his deathbed that his greatest regret was stopping the steps that he came up with. And so, but so
basically it's human nature. Like, we would do the steps every day. When I met, for like a year, we would do it every morning, do the steps, and then also meet in the afternoon. Tell them about the 5 o'clock drop.
So
you always talk about it too.
The way that I was grooved, it's being grooved in a manner of living, right? So we're all under daily mind control, right? You guys saw the technical difficulties we're having just to create this episode, right? So there is spiritual warfare on everyone every single day to keep people from being liberated beings, from being happy, joyous, and free. And so in the morning, if you can get a handle on going to source energy in the morning, not to people, not to your phone, unfortunately, a lot of people are trading one addiction for another, and even people that weren't addicts are now addicts. They're addicted to their phones. They're addicted to the TV. They're addicted to all kinds of things. So our whole society is riddled with addiction to keep us sick and tired so that we can make the money, basically. And so if you really want to fight and dissolve some of these problems, it's about rising in the morning and immediately surrendering your will and your life to the care of your higher power. And sometimes just doing the process is your higher power, right? It is a form of art, right? It is a form of alchemy, just like Cosmo's designers at the store will take all kinds of raw materials and turn it into beautiful designs, right? So what we're doing is we're taking raw pain and raw shame, guilt, anger, resentment, fear, lust, pride, ego. We're taking all of these lower emotions. Who knows what kind of nightmares we all had last night, right? And we're transmuting this pain into power. So we're running it through this process, and we need to write it out, face it. We're facing ourselves. It's much easier when you're the one writing it than someone shaking their finger at you and telling you what's wrong with you. No one wants to hear that. And so you're honest, you surrender your will and your life so you can meditate. Now, there's a lot of people who have trouble with meditation in general, especially a daily meditation practice, especially a twice a day, 20 minutes a day meditation practice. A lot of people cannot sit still. Nobody's listening, right?
I didn't do it. That's it. I did it once.
I couldn't do it either.
Yeah. Sorry.
I just had a sponsee of mine say, I'm afraid to close my eyes.
Oh, yeah.
I
remember that.
I'm like, but girl, when the drug dealer was there, did you close your eyes, girl? Okay. And when you were drinking this, were your eyes closed? So basically, this is like a healthy, but this person had fear of closing their eyes. So I had to explain to them, once you're in the 12-step and prayer and meditation, so basically, but of course an alcoholic would be like, oh no, I'm not going to meditate. I'm afraid to close my eyes. You know what I mean? They'll come up with 100 things.
But guess what? You have to figure out what motivates them. I used to make signs when I started teaching meditation, like better than Botox, right? To try to,
Yeah,
because it's true. It's like you get like
Relief.
literally 10 years off your life with a meditation practice.
yeah.
So it's like you kind of got to see what motivates people, and pain can be a big motivator. Vanity of looking better, looking younger. In LA here, it can be a big motivator.
Right.
But
So
Right.
I just have a question, just to kind of go back to when you just decide, Cosmo, like you wake up one day and you're like, the pain is so unbearable that you are at the point where you're like, I need a sponsor, or you have that calling when you saw Ansley and you ask her to be a sponsor. What happens the next day? We cold turkey quit all drugs and we start working with Ansley, or do we relapse when we do those meetings and then Ansley pulls you back in? Like, when this balance is so fragile, right? And you are like literally a second away from going back to drugs. Like, who's keeping you? Like, how are you afloat when that's happening? What's the process for those that are addicted, right? And trying to get sober? What are those baby steps? And what is your role and your mind set of mind? And where are you, Cosmo, once you have a sponsor? Do you go in relapse and then come back for her and forgive? She ask for forgiveness or whatever that is, or do you quit cold turkey and then?
Well, there's a lot of sponsors in old AA.
But how was it with you?
Yeah. So if you relapse, it's like, I'm not going to sponsor you anymore. You know what I mean? Like, basically, it was like a punishment. But basically, what Ansley taught me with myself, because I was relapsing with her in the beginning, too.
Okay, that's what I want to know.
Because I didn't have a strong conscious contact. So she was helping me get there. The connection.
And she was not judging, I bet, right? Instead of...
No judgment.
So this is key number
No
one,
judgment.
right?
She let me do it. She let me put my fears on paper. I actually had to see it. It's like self-diagnosis. She just helped me reach the source and how to get there.
Because the only thing I
Yeah.
can compare again is with the trainer that I have, right? Like he was like, it's okay that you ate carbs and sugar. Just track it. And then I was like, Quinn, I binge ate. He's like, no problem. Like it's the journey. It's not one day that you miss something. Like we can recover. So there was no judgment.
Right.
I was judging myself so much.
Yeah.
And he helped me to establish this good relationship with food.
Right.
Which is, how it is with us. Either salads and proteins
Right.
or the
all
other
or
way.
nothing.
And I have
Yeah.
this, and then I would eat something and I would feel the guilt. And I'm only comparing that because I don't do drugs. I've never done, I smoke weed maybe like once
But
or
it's the
twice in my
same
life,
thing,
but it's
like
the same thing.
working
And I'm just
out
trying to,
and food.
for those,
Yeah.
for instance, for family members are suffering, like for instance, if a mother is not an addict, but her son is, and the mother is wanting to help her son, what kind of empathy and what kind of comparison? I feel like food is more common, right, with us, with dieting, the relationship that we have. So key number one is, I guess, again, I'm speaking from my experience only, is finding someone who's not going to judge you and accept you the way you are, and who's not going to punish you for falling off the wagon, even if it's consistent. Like, how did you deal with Cosmo relapsing? You're like, we wrote it down, everything is good, he's clear-minded, he went in, and the next day you catch him doing it, or he calls you and he confesses. Like, what's going on? How would you let her know that you relapsed? Like, do you confess? Like, what's the process?
Well, she would know because I wouldn't call her the next day.
Okay.
So, when you're working with a sponsor, they kind of know you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And especially when you're on the relapse tour. But basically, what she would do with me was unconditional love. Like, she always welcomed me back.
Oh, okay.
She's like, all right, you're going to get it the next time. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're crying now,
Yeah,
right?
I'm crying. So we would go into avoidance. I'm the same way. I'm nowhere to be found, not picking up his calls when he's checking on me. Like, we would avoid because we know we're guilty.
I would go through my denial,
Right,
first
denial,
of
okay,
all, like
okay.
shame and all those things, So I would maybe call her a week later. Meanwhile, I was up in the room all the while. People are looking for me downtown. They're like, Cosmo's at a tent. Where's Cosmo? There's a whole search party. Where's Cosmo? Meanwhile, I was just up in the room in my closet. But she never came to rescue me, like she let me
because
go.
we hate that too. Don't push us.
it doesn't work.
It
Like, you
doesn't
can't
work.
chase someone.
Like, you can't enable somebody.
like dating.
either, right?
It's like dating. Yeah.
So basically, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear.
And you can't.
And that's exactly what happened with Ansley. And it was always non-judgmental. Come on, the word was continue. Just continue until it became a new ritual Not a habit, but like our mornings together was a ritual, you know? And I look forward to them, like meeting my sponsor in the yard, doing the steps. Now that we're in the 12th step, let's go to Bliss, let's have coffee, let's see what celebrities there. You know what I mean? Like, it's so much fun in sobriety, but I had to like go through fucking hell and high water just to get there, you know? But you know, she never judged me, no. And I don't, you know, and I believe in that. Like, you know, it's like, it's progress. It's never perfection.
And it gave you power to believe in yourself, I bet, right?
It gave me a big power, especially like at the end of it. Like the other day I was hysterical crying. Like, I'm going to cry now because I didn't do my steps today, guys. I'm going to do it with you guys, okay? So we can all cry together. But I'm telling you, that it's brain surgery. Like, when you get to the end of it, like your trainer, like, he didn't judge you. You know, there's no bad way to do something. You just like, you as long as you're willing. And I became willing, you know? Like, it just got a spiritual awakening without even me fucking knowing it. Like, I didn't smoke crack. Oh my God, I didn't have a drink. Oh my God, I'm almost a year sober, you know? And I went through some bad shit, though, and Ansley went, like, court cases and really horrific things that she never judged me for. And she was in the courtroom with me. We were on our knees together, because you can't, like, do this alone, you know what I mean? And I'm so grateful that I have these girls with me, like Eugenia and Ansley, and, like, my store surrounded by sober people, you know? And if I have a problem, first of all, they know it. By the look on my face. And, you know, and I get like Archie Bunker, right? And then Ansley's like, eat it, Archie! You know, it's like, girl, I'm telling you, like, we laugh. There's just happiness in the release of just one person helping another person, you know, and that's how it works, you know, and you cannot do it alone. You know, and I was hiding for so long. And then, thank God, like, you know, I was ready, you know, and God strategically said, this queen is hard to get sober. So let's move one in her back house. Okay, bitch? Let's have her Crystal sober in the store, you know? So no matter where I go, it's like sobriety. I had to literally surround myself by, like, sober people to remind me. Because another thing for alcoholism is I forgot. You know, you have amnesia. Like, you forget about the car accident. You forget about you almost got raped. You forget about that, you know, you got 10 DUIs. You're like, oh, it's okay. I'll just have another drink. You know, you just forget those horrible times.
And it ties in with the love addiction, because it's like, oh, that really attractive person is using.
Yeah, you know, and then you go for like, you know, you go for like dick. You know what I mean? You know, it's cute and all, you know, to have a little affair or whatever. But I learned, so there's so many feelings attached to that little affair. Like, you know, that little engagement that you had, you know, and whatever, in the bathroom with that guy, you know what I mean? That little quickie. So basically, you know, it's like a love addiction and a sex addiction. I think it was pre-alcohol that love addiction. And it comes from, like, abandonment, and it comes from, I don't know, it's just so much to work on, guys. You know what I mean? And I have somebody who has a little experience in all of that, you know, and I'm lucky. And now it's like other stuff, like food. That's a hard one for me.
Right.
You know, like, it bounces around, you know? And it's so funny, like I said, when you go to rehabs these days, they take away the food, they take away the cigarettes, and they take away the caffeine. You know? But my time, it was like, give them a cigarette, give them caffeine, and give them a hamburger, and some chocolate, basically. But now it's changed. You know, but how are you going to take away the food and all that stuff? But you're not teaching them how to work the steps around it.
Right. It's just putting them on drugs.
Like, it's fucking torture. That's why people are not getting sober in these fucking rehabs. Because, okay, you take away all that stuff, but if they don't do the work around it, you know, and you're resentful, basically, you're going to drink again. That's why the percentage rate is...
It's too much change.
It's too low.
Too much change too quickly.
Yeah, and
that was what I like about your story, Eugenia, is your trainer is knowing that, like, when you're really trying to build new habits, because look, how many... Like, these neural pathways get formed over our whole lives. They get formed at childhood. and it's really hard to rewire the brain, and that's what the meditations are doing and the inventories are doing, is they're rewiring your brain. And you can't be perfectionistic about it, because it actually creates moral injury, right? So if we have a goal and I have to do it perfectly, right? And then I don't do it perfectly. Now I'm recovering also from the lack of trust I have with myself. So it's important to celebrate. Like if you're someone who's trying to go to the gym, for instance, you don't just say, "Oh, get to the gym." It's for some people, it's step one. Buy a gym bag. Do one thing today. Go buy a gym bag. Okay, tomorrow, or like a week from now, even like go buy some gym shoes and put the gym shoes in the gym bag and go put it by the front door. Okay, now you don't have to go to the gym. Go and touch the gym bag. Now, if someone can just go to the gym, great. But I'm talking about if you're really trying to solve a problem, which is like what I'm into. I'm interested in where are we now? Where are we trying to go? And holding that vision and making small incremental changes and celebrating those small incremental changes. If a baby's learning to walk and they take a couple of steps and they fall down, are you like shaming the baby for not being able to walk? No, you're celebrating the few steps that they took, or the one step they took before they fell down. And it's how quickly can you recover? So, I used to be, when I started my sobriety, I didn't want to leave the house without doing my meditations, doing my inventories, because, I just didn't. And I really didn't. Like, I missed plane flights. But now having kids, like I can, I've moved that line in the sand, but like sometimes I wish I hadn't fully moved that line in the sand, because I like the results that I get. It's all about knowing how you're going to invest your time. And, look, Cosmo, you're in the public eye. You're both in the public eye, so it's just like, we're talking about like, we are the company we keep. Like, there is no other. Like, all our nervous systems are all connected right now. That's why we had to take TikTok off to create this episode. So we're like,
I'm sorry, it was me, like, again, trying to,
but
do camera action. Sorry, it was my fault.
It's okay. No, it's just, I was willing to do it too. And we did our TikTok time, and I'm glad we did it,
Spilled couple coffees.
Sorry about the coffee. But
guys, the mics were flying. Did you see when we started? They were flying.
We were not touching
something
them.
did not want us to do this little podcast today and talk about sobriety.
And it's a perfect example.
And that's an example of how it is. Like, it's like different levels, different devils.
Yep.
And, it was coming for us. Like, the microphones were on the floor. I just steam cleaned these carpets. The whole coffee fell on the fucking carpet. I had to run outside, smoke 5 cigarettes to come back. But you know what?
The show must go on.
The show must go on. And we I don't know, did you work the steps today before?
Not really. I did a little. Tiny bit.
Yeah, but even like sharing this way in a general way is really helping me, get to the other side. Because, the disease wants to kill us, period. It wants to kill us. It doesn't want us healthy. It doesn't want us to do these steps. It wants us to go out there angry, have road rage, and all that. And you know what? I even think, like, as far as going back in school, like, the thing about the steps is that you don't have to be an alcoholic to get relief.
Right. And we're all victims of addiction now.
That's the beauty.
They're trying to do this on me, right?
Like, the steps can help everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Alcohol, heroin, cocaine. Yes, I'm living proof. Alcoholic and drug addict, hardcore, hope to die drug addict. I have going on 8 years sobriety. And due to the work of these steps, and. But the beautiful thing is, like, they should really teach this in school to the kids, honestly. There's got to be a way. That's why we're here today.
Yeah.
Because we want to
100%.
transmit something that we do have,
So,
and we want to make basically the world a better place, because people are coming in my store all day and they're like, I'm sober because of you, and like I didn't want to, I was thinking about killing myself, and they literally come in the store and they're like, let me give you a hug, and this is what I'm experiencing all day. So I guess the show was going to be about fashion and who I dress and who I undress and all the fun, and but basically you can't enjoy all that in life without, like, this is the meat and potatoes. This is how Cosmo lives his life. This is how he stays sober. This is how I got all these gifts.
Right, and how you're going to maintain it, because you're like on a marathon right now.
Yeah. And it's a lot, and there's some days I just don't want to do it and I don't want to wake up and, but now it's like I have a new purpose, to help another person, so if I'm not getting up for me, I'm getting up for, like, okay, now I got to go to my store. I have these fans. I got to help these people. But now I want to transmit more, like with this podcast with Ansley and Eugenia, who, like, Eugenia transformed, and I don't think she is an alcoholic, but I think that she has the tendencies of, like, the OCD, which could really kill you. Like, my mother had that. Like, my mother could not stop. She was scrubbing walls.
Yeah.
Clorox, her fingers, like, you saw the bone in her fingers, She could not stop cleaning, I also have a friend that can't stop decorating. He's like, hi. I'm like, we go to a meeting one day. It's hilarious. It's like, hi, I'm Cosmo. I'm an alcoholic crackhead. And he's like, hi, I'm so-and-so. I can't stop decorating.
What?
But it's a thing.
What can't I stop?
Yeah.
Why can't I stop? What's going on? What's wrong?
You can't stop moving.
Yeah.
And overachieving, which I thank you for. But then it gets to the point where it's like
TikTok today, right? TikTok and YouTube. And it was a mess.
Yeah, it was a big mess this morning, guys. So I really urge that, like,
Eugenia's a camera addict.
yeah, she's a camera addict. Yeah.
She's a workaholic, basically.
So basically,
She's amazing.
upon awakening.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about, like we want to save lives here?
Mm-hmm.
Like, look at Seth. I went to his funeral.
Yeah.
It was so beautiful. There was every rock star in Hollywood there. Everybody was crying their eyes out. And they did, like, this Dove release. It was so beautiful. But guess what? He's 49 years old. He's gone.
He left behind 3 sons. And, like, he basically...
And how did you know him?
So nobody...
Honestly?
You know what? Did you ever... Because I know you sponsored him for a little while, right? Did you sponsor him? No, probably not.
No,
because if you would have sponsored him...
sponsor
excuse me. No, but if you would have sponsored him, I truly think he would have got sober.
I think so, too. I wish I could have...
Yeah.
I literally wish I could have spent more time one-on-one with Seth. And it's like... I just have a lot of regrets, honestly, like, that he's gone. And so, but he's, I think that, he did know, he did know about the inventory and everything like that, but
But could you share, like, have people understand, the audience understand the difference between, because in AA, a lot of people do their own thing. They work their own program. But there is kind of, like, only way that it really works, and I find that you have to do the steps, like Ansley does the steps, and, like, I do the steps, like, on a daily, and pray and meditate daily. So could you just share, like, why so many people in AA are not doing it that way?
It's like...
Like, you know what? Like, when I went to Bliss, not only do you do the inventory, but I saw another girl, the comedian girl.
Yeah, Tracy.
Tracy.
Yeah.
And I see her writing. And I'm like, so I went up to her, I says, what are you writing so intense?
Yeah.
So basically, when you see Ansley at a meeting, this is what she has. This is the secret.
Yeah.
Right? I don't do it at the meeting, but I do it, like, before the meeting. She always has this, and then you'll just see her like this. Like, if it's a rough day, you see her like... And they're always writing. So I did go up to your friend who works the steps like we do, and I said, what are you writing? She goes, I'm writing all my resentments right now, and I'm doing a fear list. And I said, what do you mean? She goes, I have to do it at a meeting. She goes like, see that guy over there? Like, if you don't like the way he looks or he's looking at you, in my mind, it's fucking with me. So I have to write that. Basically, all the fears and the resentments. So there's people that actually do it. You'll see them with pen and paper, just actually doing the steps at a meeting. And then right after they finish the steps, they share. They got something to transmit. But could you share more about that?
Sure.
Because that's like what's going on.
Yeah.
That's why like nobody's listening. Like I go to AA, I go to this Rodeo Drive meeting. You know, I do have this outfit on, and I'm working here and there. But basically, but are you working the steps? Are you staying sober? You know, because so many times I go to meetings, it's like, I got 1 week, I got 2 months, you know what I mean? And it's a meeting I've been going to for a long time. Why are these people always fucking relapsing, you know?
You just read my mind. I was going to ask, like,
Right.
are you in the most fragile state when you are deciding to change your life? Like, for instance, if you're doing drugs, you could survive like that for years, right? For some reason.
I gotta check my dogs. But I will be back.
You want me to pause? Because it's not life. Let's just pause. Without you, they don't care. They want you. So we can try, but maybe we can do a cut and then another cut.